The RV pulled out of the driveway at 6 a.m. sharp, leaving me standing in my pajamas watching my entire family disappear down the road. All because my sister Brooke said she'd cancel if I came. I held the deed to the house she'd been living in rent-free for 3 years, my signature already drying on the sale documents. But when my parents showed up at my door 6 hours later, they weren't alone, and the stranger standing between them would reveal why I'd really been left behind. Hi everyone, my name is Delilah. I'm 28 years old, and I learned that sometimes the cruelest exclusions hide the darkest secrets. The family road trip had been planned for months. Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, all the tourist traps we'd talked about since we were kids. Dad had rented the massive RV. Mom had planned every stop, and I'd requested 3 weeks off work. My first real vacation in 2 years. But apparently, Brooke had other plans. She says she won't go if you're there. Mom had explained over the phone the night before, her voice careful, measured. You know how she gets. And we already put down deposits. So I'm uninvited from the family vacation because Brooke throws tantrums? It's not like that. She's going through something with Marcus. She needs family support right now. I'm family. You know what I mean. I did know. I'd always known. In the hierarchy of our family, Brooke's needs came first, Brooke's wants came second, and somewhere after the family dog came me. So I watched them leave. Mom avoided eye contact as she climbed into the passenger seat. Dad gave me that helpless shrug he'd perfected over 28 years. My brother Tyler waved from the back window, mouthing sorry, like that made it better. And Brooke? She stared straight ahead, strawberry blonde hair perfect, satisfied smile visible even through the tinted glass. The moment the RV turned the corner, I went inside and made a call. Garrett, it's Delilah. I'm ready to accept the offer on Grandma's house. See, there was one thing my family had conveniently forgotten in their eagerness to exclude me. The house Brooke had been living in for 3 years. The one she paid no rent on, the one she'd redecorated with Marcus, the one she posted about constantly on Instagram, legally belonged to me. Grandma had left it to me specifically in her will. Not to all the grandchildren, not to be split equally. To me. For my little bookworm who'll know what to do with it, the will had read. For 3 years, I'd let Brooke live there. First, it was just until the wedding. Then, just until Marcus finds a better job. Then, just until the baby comes. Except the wedding kept getting postponed. Marcus played video games instead of job hunting. And the baby was just another manipulation tactic that never materialized. But family helps family, right? That's what Mom always said when I brought up rent. That's what Dad mumbled when I mentioned the property taxes I paid. That's what Brooke never said because she never thanked me at all. The buyer, a young couple expecting twins, was thrilled to close quickly. Cash offer as is 30-day escrow. I signed everything that morning, my hurt crystallizing into action with every initial. By noon, I was at a cafe downtown, trying to focus on my laptop instead of the photos already flooding Instagram. Best family ever. Brooke had captioned a selfie at their first rest stop. Mom and Dad beaming in the background, Tyler throwing peace signs. The perfect family -1. My phone buzzed. 3 missed calls from Marcus. I let it ring. Then, at 2:47 p.m., everything changed. The doorbell rang, followed immediately by pounding. Through the peephole, I saw them, Mom and Dad, still in their road trip clothes, faces haggard. And between them, a woman I'd never seen before. Mid-50s, graying hair, wearing a business suit that had seen better days. I opened the door. Forget something? Like a daughter? Delilah, Dad's voice was strained. We need to talk. The road trip was 6 hours. We turned around. Mom's eyes were red-rimmed. This is Sheila Morrison. The woman stepped forward, and that's when I saw it. The same nose. The same stubborn chin. The same green eyes that Brooke used to get whatever she wanted. Hello, she said quietly. I'm Brooke's biological mother. The world tilted. I gripped the doorframe. What? Can we come in? Dad asked. There's more. I let them in numbly, my mind racing. Brooke's biological mother? Brooke was adopted? Since when? How did I not know this? They sat in my living room. The one they rarely visited because Brooke always insisted on hosting at her house. Sheila clutched a manila envelope like a lifeline. Start talking, I said. Mom took a shaky breath. When we were trying to have kids, we had difficulties. We adopted Brooke when she was 2. A closed adoption, we thought. We never told her because by the time you came along naturally, it didn't seem to matter. I was your miracle baby, I said slowly. The one you conceived after adopting. The cliché. Don't say it like that, Dad protested. How should I say it? The biological child who came after you got the child you really wanted. That's not. Mom stopped, unable to finish the lie. Sheila spoke up. I contacted them 6 months ago. I'm sick. Cancer. I wanted to meet Brooke before whatever happens. They begged me to wait until after this trip to approach her. But Brooke found out, Dad said heavily. She found the emails last week. That's why she didn't want you on the trip, Delilah. She was planning to confront us, and she said she didn't want you to see her like that. Like what? Vulnerable, Mom whispered. She said you always made her feel like she wasn't really family. Like you knew somehow. I laughed, harsh and bitter. I made her feel like she wasn't family? She's lived in MY house rent-free for 3 years. I've bent over backward to include her, support her, love her despite. I stopped, the words choking me. Despite what? Sheila asked gently. Despite the fact that she's treated me like an intruder my whole life. Despite Mom and Dad always choosing her side. Despite being told over and over that I needed to be understanding because Brooke was special and sensitive and apparently, now I know, adopted. She doesn't know that part, Mom said quickly. She found the emails but not the whole truth. She thinks Sheila is something else. What does she think? Dad cleared his throat. She thinks Sheila is your biological mother. That you're the adopted one. The room spun. She thinks, and you let her believe. We panicked. Mom cried. She was so angry, so hurt. She said if we didn't exclude you from the trip, she'd never speak to us again. We thought we could figure it out on the road, explain everything calmly. But she had a breakdown at the first rest stop, Dad continued. Started screaming about how everything made sense now, how she always knew you were different, how we loved you more because you weren't really theirs. So you came back, I finished. To what? To make me play along with this insane lie. No, Sheila said firmly. To tell the truth. All of it. That's why I'm here. I won't let my daughter live a lie, especially not one that hurts another innocent person. Your daughter, I repeated. The one who's been living in a house that Grandma left to me. Tell me, did you know about that? Mom and Dad exchanged glances. What do you mean? Did you know Grandma left the house to me specifically? Or did you think it was for all of us? We assumed. Dad trailed off. You never read the will, I realized. You just let Brooke move in because she wanted it and assumed I'd go along because I always do. Well, guess what? I sold it this morning. Closes in 30 days. The silence was deafening. You sold. Mom's face went white. Brooke's home. My inheritance. That she's been squatting in while treating me like garbage. Yes, I sold it. She'll be destroyed, Dad said. Like I was destroyed being excluded from a family trip because Princess Brooke had a tantrum? Sheila stood up. I should go. This is more complicated than I realized. No, I said, surprising everyone, including myself. You're the only honest person here. Stay. Let's call Brooke. Let's tell her everything right now. Delilah, please, Mom begged. Let us handle this our way. Your way? I pulled out my phone. Your way is letting her believe I'm adopted while living in my house? Your way is abandoning me for a road trip because she's having an identity crisis about the wrong person. I hit Brooke's contact before they could stop me. She answered on the second ring. What? Her voice was sharp, defensive. Come to gloat about being the real daughter? Actually, I said, my voice steady despite my shaking hands. I called to tell you that you have 30 days to move out of my house. I sold it. What? I heard something crash in the background. You can't do that. Mom. Dad. They're here, I said. With someone who wants to meet you. Your biological mother. And before you say another word, Brooke, know this. I'm not adopted. I never was. But you are. And they've been lying to both of us our entire lives. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Then, in a small voice I'd never heard from her before. What? I handed the phone to Sheila. It's time you met your daughter. As Sheila took the phone with trembling hands, I looked at my parents, these people who'd raised me but never really seen me. Who'd favored the chosen child while taking the biological one for granted. Who'd created this toxic dynamic and then wondered why their daughters couldn't get along. When this call is over, I said quietly, I want you all to leave. Brooke has 30 days to get her things. After that, I don't want to hear from any of you for a while. Delilah, please, Mom reached for me. We're family. No, I said, stepping back. Family doesn't abandon you because someone else throws a fit. Family doesn't let you pay their bills while treating you like a second-class citizen. Family doesn't lie for decades and then expect you to play along. We love you, Dad said desperately. You love the idea of me. The compliant daughter who never complains, who funds your other daughter's lifestyle, who accepts being excluded without question. But that's not love, Dad. That's convenience. Sheila finished the call, her face wet with tears. She wants to meet me. Tonight. She's driving back. Not to my house, she's not, I said. You can meet at Mom and Dad's. Figure out your new family dynamic there. I opened the door, a clear dismissal. They filed out slowly, Mom still crying, Dad looking lost, Sheila clutching Brooke's future in that manila envelope. The house, Mom started, goes to a nice couple expecting twins. People who'll actually make it a home instead of a crash pad. Don't worry about Brooke. I'm sure the golden child will land on her feet. She always does. I closed the door on their protests and leaned against it, heart hammering. My phone buzzed immediately, text from Tyler. Holy shit, is it true? Brooke's losing it. She just threw Marcus's Xbox out the window. Mom told me everything. Are you okay? I typed back, I'm free. And I was. Free from the obligation to shrink myself to make room for Brooke's ego. Free from paying for the privilege of being treated as less than. Free from the toxic fiction that biology meant less than selection, when the truth was neither had mattered, only manipulation had. The house would sell, Brooke would rage, my parents would scramble to fix their precious narrative. But for the first time in 28 years, that wasn't my problem. I poured myself wine and sat on my balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of justice. Somewhere out there, a family was imploding over truths that should have been told decades ago. Somewhere, Brooke was learning that being chosen doesn't mean being entitled. Somewhere, my parents were realizing that you can't build a family on lies and expect it to stand. But here, in my own space that no one could take, I was finally just Delilah. Not the biological daughter, not the ATM, not the afterthought. Just me. My phone rang. An unknown number with a local area code. I almost didn't answer, then curiosity won. Hello. Is this Delilah? A young woman's voice, nervous but excited. I'm Emma from Harmony Real Estate. I'm calling about your grandmother's house. My husband and I wanted to thank you personally. We've been looking for months, and when we saw it this morning, we just knew. It's perfect for raising our twins. I'm glad, I said, meaning it. It's a good house. It deserves a real family. The energy there is beautiful. You can feel the love in those walls. Your grandmother must have been special. She was. I smiled, remembering. She used to say that houses should be filled with laughter, not lies. What wonderful wisdom. We promised to honor that. After we hung up, I sat with Grandma's words echoing in my mind. She'd known somehow. Known that leaving the house to me specifically would matter one day. Known that I'd need something that was purely mine when the family facade finally cracked. A text from Brooke lit up my screen. I can't believe you'd do this to me. I typed back. I can't believe it took me this long. Then I blocked her number, poured another glass of wine, and toasted the empty air. To Grandma. To truth. To families we choose versus families we're stuck with. And to road trips I'll take alone in cars I own, to destinations where I'm actually wanted. The stars came out one by one, each a tiny light in the darkness. Like truths finally told. Like daughters finally free. Like houses finally sold to people who'd fill them with honest love instead of convenient lies. My name is Delilah Manning. I was left out of a family road trip because my sister, who isn't even my biological sister, didn't want me around. So I sold the house she was living in rent-free. And for the first time in my life, I don't regret putting myself first. Because sometimes the best family trips are the ones you don't take. Sometimes the best inheritance is the courage to use what's yours. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just finally choosing yourself.